Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Ask Lewis. Today we're going to talk about different types of pedals and cleats. We're going to talk about Look, Shimano, Speed Play, mountain bike, road bike, all these different words. And there's a cleat in here that Serafina didn't even know about until I pulled it out. So I reckon let's dive straight into it.
This is weird, and I know I'm jumping the gun here, but this is weird. Like, I'm like, what? Also, I need to do a shout out to Jason, who was the one who asked this question on how to sit up a cleat.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Jason, also known as Jake, if it's who I'm thinking that it is. Yeah, anyway, that's a little in-joke that he'll understand and his family will understand. Anyway, let's go straight into it. 3 different types here. We're pretty much looking at, if we were to split these two into the same thing, I'd be saying road bike versus mountain bike. If I flip them over underneath here, this is what the road bike ones tend to look like. This is what a Shimano cleat looks like. The Shimano one works in a triangle and clips into this pedal. Well, it's actually up underneath like that. So the front of it will hook into the triangle there, and then we'll stand down on the back part here, which will cause it to clip in. Another type that we've got here is called Speed Play. Speed Play, the pedal is almost the cleat, and the cleat is almost the pedal, which probably doesn't make sense until you look at one in real life. But this part is connected to the bike, and we're clipping it onto the bike, onto the shoe there, sorry. And it looks like, I'll quickly just take the cover off so you can see, but we've got a whole lot of confusing little things going on in here. A bunch of screws and ways to adjust the angle and all this sort of stuff. That's what Speed Play looks like. And then we can look at mountain bike as well. Mountain bike is the type that Serafina actually runs. It's only got the 2 bolts that are plugged, that connect it to the shoe. And then we've got the cleat that kind of looks like this, the pedal that looks like this as well. So that's what a mountain bike looks like. Let's talk about why you might choose to go for one or the other. I'm not going to talk about Speed Play too much yet. We're just going to talk about road bike versus mountain bike for now. Road bike ones are good because they're really solid, really stiff. You can get different amounts of what I call float, which is how much your foot can move before it actually unclips. So road bike ones are more efficient, they're lighter, they're stiffer, they're a few people might argue that they're more comfortable. Road bikes are good. Mountain bikes are cool because the cleat is hidden underneath there. So as you're walking around the kitchen on the slippery tiles, you've actually got the rubber parts of the shoe that are on the floor rather than the plastic part of this road bike cleat on the floor. It's very slippery. I slipped over in front of my mum once in the kitchen, and from that point forth I was very careful.
Did she laugh at you?
Yeah. I laughed as well, it's okay. Yeah, but on a road bike, you kind of don't really put your foot down unless you're stopped at the traffic lights. I mean, yes, you might walk around to the coffee shop, but usually you're pretty careful walking around anyway. But your foot shouldn't touch the ground too much on a road bike, whereas on a mountain bike, you might have to climb up a difficult section of trail or down a difficult section of trail, or climbing up some stairs, or crossing over a fence, or whatever it is that you're doing for your mountain bike or your gravel bike style of ride, I suppose. I think a really important thing to talk about is positioning on the cleats as well. This one here is probably the most obvious one that I can try and show the difference. If I grab my tool that I need to loosen these 3 bolts here, this one's a 4mm Allen key. If I go ahead and purposely loosen them for this video, this is not my shoe, so it's not gonna stuff up my knees or anything like that. Anyway, so we can see that now the cleat is able to move a little bit. We can go up and down. Okay, there's a bit of dirt in there, so I can't move it heaps. We can go up and down. We can go side to side, and then we can even rotate it a little bit. The reason I say those different things is everybody has a slightly different foot, and you'll end up finding what you need to do. Perhaps every time you clip in, you miss the pedal every time. Maybe if you move the cleat to where the pedal's gonna be, maybe you'll be able to clip in a little bit easier. Maybe the ball of your foot is here, so you want the cleat to be there, or maybe you prefer riding with your toes down, so you move it there. Point being, you adjust it how you need to. I recommend carrying that tool with you for your first couple of bike rides with your cleats anyway, so you can adjust it.
Like, there's nothing set, like there's no ideal positioning for the cleat.
I think
foot, like it's not like on the ball of your foot or anything like that. It's
Yeah, I choose to have the cleat as far down as I can have it, because I find that gives me the most control over the bike. If it's really high, I find that my heels get pushed really low when I'm riding, and I end up riding with my toes down rather than using the full foot, so I'm kind of using a bit more of my calf muscle than I need to. So I tend to find it to be all the way down the bottom. You might find it to be a little bit more comfortable slightly further up, whatever it is that you need to do. But one thing as well is, I was saying before, how you can rotate it a little bit from side to side. The way that I work out what you need to do there is, let me go another step back. I used to work in another bike shop and we used to sell a lot of shoes in there, and whenever somebody was fitting cleats to it and they didn't have a set of cleats that I could replicate across, I always had the exact same process that I would follow them through. I would get them to take their shoes off, just straight down to their socks. I feel like I may as well do it today. I know that I have a hole in one of my socks today, so I'm a little bit, perhaps I could have prepared for this a little bit better, but still. Look, there it is. It's my little toe. That's my toe.
Why don't you draw like a little smiley face on it?
Yeah. Have I got
Have you a pen?
I don't think I have a pen here. We could just quickly colour it in. Anyway, there's my toe, internet. The reason I've taken my shoes off here is I often say to people, there's two different things that you can do. One is walking directly at the camera. If I just walk straight, you can see whether somebody's heels are maybe facing inwards, or maybe they're pigeon-toed, so their feet are facing inwards, whatever your feet tend to do. So if you stand a little bit back, maybe look at a mirror or get a friend, literally just walk in a straight line, don't think about what your feet are doing, and just see how they land. That's one thing you can do. That will show you whether your heels want to be facing inwards or whether your heels want to be facing outwards, or whatever's happening there. So that will tell us how the cleat will need to be adjusted. So I say that because if you walk around with your heels facing inwards and then you put the cleats on so that they're perfectly straight, it's going to feel like your knees are twisted inwards for the whole bike ride, which is really uncomfortable, can hurt your body, can even hurt your back, which sounds crazy because it's your knees, but it all kind of works together. So making sure that your cleats are set up for how your body and your knees need to be is, I could almost argue, one of the most important things on your bike. When you're using flat pedals, your feet just land however they land. I was saying there's two different ways that we can do it. One way is walking directly at the camera. The other one is if you jump up really high in the air and land however you land, I can see that right there, without thinking about it, my feet are slightly angled outwards, which I definitely didn't realize it was quite that much, but there you go. Nonetheless, they're pointing slightly outwards, which means that I'd still want the cleats to be facing straight forwards. So I'd need to angle them slightly inwards a little bit. So that's a bit of a rule of thumb how to do it. There's heaps of tools and bike fits you can do and all these different things here. This is a thing you can do at home to find out for yourself. I don't know what else I can quickly say on top of that topic.
I think that's really good actually, because I didn't realise that it is really important, and it's going to affect your back. Like when you say that makes sense.
Yeah,
but you think about that.
It's an interesting thing to think about. But it's one of your contact points with the bike, and I think, it's just a domino effect from there, and all your power's going through your legs. But again, if you walk around like this, and that's how you walk, and then you jump onto the bike and you're in like this, your knees are used to being out like this. So you need to set the cleats up so that that's comfortable. Sometimes you can go a little bit too extreme and you might find that your shoe or your foot is bumping on the frame or on perhaps the cranks as well, because it's so angled outwards, I suppose, the opposite of pigeon-toed. Take that into account, I suppose, but you just adjust it however you need to adjust it.
I've had that before, where my shoe hits the wheel when I'm turning, and if you turn on a really tight angle and it hits it, and it almost knocks you off. Oh man, that's a whole other topic. Absolutely, absolutely. That can be crank length. That can be where your cleats are set up. That could be maybe you've got size 50 feet and you're on a double extra small frame size, and maybe because of that it's rubbing on the front tire. That's probably a whole other topic that we could go into, I think. I just have one thing I have to do right now. I know what you're going to do because you've got a pen in your hand. We're going to get rid of the hole in my sock. I'm actually just going to make like a little...
You're just going to tattoo my foot?
And, hang on. And we're not, I don't know.
There you go. That's my toe. Hello. That's Lewis's toe.
Now you need to walk towards the camera. So now walk. This is how you walk.
Hi, I'm Lewis. Anyway. So that's my toe. Internet. How embarrassing. Here we go. The rest of my feet are covered though, so you're welcome. All right, cool. I want to sign off now because I'm embarrassed. All right. We'll see you later, guys. I hope that explains a bit about cleats and shoes and all that cool stuff. Yeah, Perfect. Let's go with that. Yeah. All right, thanks, Jake. Jason, Jake, see ya.
Bye.